Every Tuesday at 7 p.m., Mark did what he considered his small, desperate ritual. He poured a splash of whiskey into a glass, sat in the old leather armchair by the window, and dialed the same number. He knew no one would answer. Since his wife, Sarah, had passed away 3 years ago in a sudden accident, this phone call had become his only prayer. He wasn't a man who often went to church anymore, but he felt that as long as her voice existed on that server, her soul hadn't fully left this earth. He paid for the mobile plan every month, treating the bill like a tithe to keep a piece of heaven accessible. Only to hear,
Hey, I can't talk right now because I'm probably saving the world or buying the most ridiculous socks in town. Leave a message after the beep.
her voice was alive, playful, a joyful melody that reminded him that God once smiled upon him. He would listen for 15 seconds, wait for the beep, and then hang up. He never left messages. He just needed to hear that life still existed in the silence. This Tuesday, the silence was broken. Mark dialed the number. The line rang. 1, 2, 3. Usually the voicemail kicked in after the fourth. The fourth ring passed, then the fifth. Mark's heart began to race. "Lord, please, not now," he whispered, a rare prayer escaping his lips. Then the ringing stopped. A living, breathing silence filled the line.
Hello?
A woman's voice said. It wasn't Sarah's voice. It was husky, tired, and completely foreign. Mark froze. The phone nearly slipped from his hand. "Who is this?" he whispered, his voice trembling with a mix of fear and sacrilege.
It's me.
The voice answered irritably.
Look, I just bought this prepaid SIM yesterday. Why do you keep calling?
Mark felt a wave of agony. "You couldn't have bought it," he shouted. "That number belongs to my wife. I pay for it. It's all I have left of her."
I don't know what to tell you.
The woman's voice softened slightly.
I bought it at a shop in Manhattan. There was an old greeting on here. I did a factory reset this morning. I wiped it clean.
Mark lowered the phone, his world collapsing. The last echo of Sarah was gone, erased. It felt like a second funeral, one where he couldn't even see the casket. He slumped into his chair, a hot tear tracing a path through the stubble on his face.
Are you still there?
The voice asked. It was no longer irritable. It was gentle, almost reverent. Mark didn't answer. He felt abandoned, not just by the technology, but by the Creator.
Was it your wife?
The stranger guessed. Yes, Mark finally exhaled. She died 3 years ago. Her voice was on that machine. I thought if I kept her voice alive, I wasn't alone. Now even that's gone. God has finally taken everything. A long silence followed. Then the woman spoke, and her voice sounded like a distant bell.
My name is Chloe,
She said,
and maybe you won't believe this, but I spent this morning in a small chapel on 4th Street. I'm a believer, but I've been lost lately. I ran away from a life where I was told I was nothing. I sat in that pew and prayed for a sign. I asked God to show me that my life still had a purpose, that I wasn't just a ghost wandering the city.
She paused, her breath hitching.
Then you called. When you shouted about the recording, I felt this strange shiver. I realized that the number I bought, the clean slate I was looking for, carried someone's most precious memory. Maybe God didn't take her voice away to hurt you, Mark. Maybe he silenced the recording so you would finally hear a living soul again. And maybe he sent your call to me so I would know that my voice actually matters to someone.
Mark looked out the window. The rain had stopped, and a single star broke through the New York clouds. He thought about the odds, the millions of numbers, the timing of the reset, the prayer in the chapel. Sarah used to say that God moves in mysterious ways, she said, that sometimes he closes a book so we're forced to start the next chapter.
Maybe this is the first page,
Chloe replied softly. They talked for another hour. They didn't talk about death. They talked about the light. Chloe spoke of her faith and her art, how she used to draw angels in the margins of her notebooks. Mark spoke of the bridges he built, realizing for the first time that a bridge isn't just steel and concrete. It's a connection between two lonely places. You know, Mark said, Sarah always called this a lucky number. She said it was blessed. I think she was right. It brought me to you when we both needed a hand to hold in the dark.
I'll keep it safe, Mark.
Chloe promised.
And I'll record a greeting that honors that grace. I'll make sure anyone who calls knows they aren't alone.
When they finally hung up, Mark didn't reach for the whiskey. He walked over to a small shelf and picked up a dusty Bible that hadn't been opened in years. He didn't read it yet, but he held it to his chest. He deleted the contact, Sarah. It didn't feel like a betrayal anymore. It felt like an amen. He created a new entry, Chloe, a new light. As Mark drifted into a peaceful sleep, he didn't hear a recording. He felt a presence, a warmth that whispered that love never truly dies, it just changes form. And across the city, Chloe sat by her window, sketching. She wasn't drawing a ghost. She was drawing a bridge made of light, stretching across the silence, with a small figure on the other side, finally walking home.